What's up? Gabe Pligas here. Thank you so much for booking a free assessment. In this video, what I'm going to do is break down the 3-step biblical framework to lose 10 to 30 pounds or more in the next 12 weeks for Christian entrepreneurs. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Gabe Pligas. I am one of the owners of DefaultKings.com alongside our other amazing owner and my best friend, Joey Yoheim. And we help Christian entrepreneurs lose fat and keep it off by teaching them the biblical framework to finally be consistent. Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going over the exact process we've used to help over 600 men in DefaultKings.com get results like these. And the reason that I am showing you this is because I want you to understand just the weight of what we're about to go over here. Okay, because this is not going to involve keto or intermittent fasting. This is not going to involve any quick fixes or hyper restrictive diets that you can't stick to. This is not going to involve wasting hours of your time on intense cardio, and this will not involve any unsustainable workout routines or challenges. But this will involve you eating the foods that you love. This will involve you building lean muscle and strength and athleticism. This will involve you learning the biblical principles for consistency, and this will involve you creating default actions so that the change lasts for life. This is the exact process that helped Gavin get results like these. Gavin is a Christian father of 5 who lost 32 pounds in 12 weeks while running multiple businesses. Now he looks better in clothes in front of the camera like this. And he's got the energy to go on hunting trips with his son while parenting these kiddos. And Gavin was a really busy guy. I remember when we first talked, when we did his free assessment, he was actually in the car. And I was like, Gavin, what's up, man? Are you driving right now? And he's like, yeah, Gabe, I'm so sorry. I know you asked me to be in a quiet room, but I'm driving from, one business to the other, right? He actually owned a gym, ironically, and also a financial planning practice. But he was like, yeah, man, I'm just back and forth. I've got no time. And I was like, Gavin, for your safety and also for just the productivity of this conversation, I'm not going to have this conversation while you're driving. So let's just schedule another time where you can be in a quiet room, ready to jot down some notes. And he was like, Gabe, I'm so busy, man. Like you don't understand. And I'm like, I get it, but this is important, right? We're going to be talking about how to potentially help you solve a problem that you've been dealing with for decades. So we rescheduled a chat for a time where he can be present. And when he started, he was like, I'm not sure if I have the time to do this. I'm not sure if I can even do this at all. I mean, I've been overweight. I've been a bigger guy. I've been the guy who can, put down food for so long. And within 12 weeks, he went from 240 pounds to 208 pounds. Okay. So this is going to be the exact process that Gavin used. This is also going to be the exact process that Alex used. Alex is a father who works in the crypto space who lost 54 pounds in 24 months while traveling to 6 different countries for work in that time period for all these networking events that he wanted to be able to present himself better at. So you can see the difference here in terms of how he is presenting himself. And the cool thing is he went from this, on the heavier side, I guess you could say, of dad bod, right, to abs and competing in Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournaments after losing these 50 plus pounds. And the cool thing is his daughter actually followed his example because he was able to do jiu-jitsu with her since he got in shape. And now his daughter is competing in and winning national level tournaments. And it is just absolutely incredible to see. So this is for you if you're a Christian entrepreneur. This is also for you if you're a business owner or a high-level professional. And this is for you if you're a man who's stuck somewhere between like 200 and 300 pounds. This is also for you if you've tried keto, if you've tried or you're currently trying intermittent fasting or any other diet, but you just couldn't get it to stick. This is for you if you've lost weight in the past, but you just keep falling off and gaining the weight back. This is also for you if you're fully aware that it is the crappy food and the skipping workouts that's keeping you stuck, but you just haven't been able to be consistent. And this is also for you if you know that your body is the temple of God and you should honor it as such. But honestly, you've just deprioritized your health up to this point And now you're finally ready to be lean, healthy, high energy, and set a good example for your family and everybody who looks to you as a leader. This is not for you. Please leave and unbook your call if if you fall into the category. This is not for you if you are a woman. This is not for you if you are opposed to or offended by learning biblical principles. We are unashamed about our faith here at defaultkings.com, and everything we teach is going to stem from the Bible. So if you're offended by that or opposed to that, then please leave. And this is not for you if you don't want to lose fat and gain muscle. Okay. So what we believe, again, if this offends you, we're probably not going to gel well, but we believe that the Bible is the ultimate authority on human behavior change. We also believe that it is your duty as a man to be as healthy as you can be, both physically and mentally, not just for yourself, but for your business and for your loved ones, and also just to honor God with the body that he loaned you. We also believe that the fastest and easiest way to success in every area of life is through mentorship, through coaching, through accountability from other men. We believe that a lean and healthy body in more years on this earth and being able to leave a bigger impact and set a better impression for those who look to you as a leader is worth than any amount of money in the bank. We also believe that as a man thinketh, so is he. That's Proverbs 23:7. And we'll go more into how that impacts your fat loss in a second here. Now, how this is going to be different than anything you've tried before or what you're doing right now that's not currently working is that you've probably tried a bunch of different things, but it just hasn't actually stuck long term. You probably have even lost some weight before, but it just hasn't actually stuck long term, which is the problem because you don't lose weight with the intention of gaining it back, right? You've probably tried things like cardio, excessive cardio maybe. You've probably tried things like keto. You've probably tried things like fasting. You might even be thinking, you know what, I'm going to show up to this free assessment with the Default Kings team and I'm going to tell them how I've been fasting. And we're going to be like, how's that working for you? Okay. It's not exactly working for you, right? Long term. Yeah. Your past strategy or current strategy has been perfect for your current results, right? So this will not be that. This will not be us giving you rigid meal plans. This will not be us being your nutritionists who are just like, here are all the crazy scientific things you need to be eating on an every single daily basis, like overwhelming you with that stuff. We're not life coaches. We are not personal trainers who are just going to charge you by the session every single week, every single month, adding that up over the years, just making sure that you come back, begging you to come back, telling you that we're going to have to cancel our session because, you know, the baby mama that I'm paying for child support on, she's not taking care of my baby. Okay. We are not that, you know, and, you know, the personal trainers that don't even come home and help you with the nutrition in the first place makes you feel bad for what you're doing in the gym. We are not that. This is not group fitness classes. Okay. This is not going to be going to F45 and prancing around with the neighborhood moms. All right. Little free tip here. If you look around and all your training partners are the neighborhood moms, okay, then that's for the neighborhood moms. This is not Weight Watchers. I'm not going to be eating any weird diet foods or anything like that. This is not 75 hard. Absolutely no disrespect to Andy Frisella. I respect that guy a ton as a business leader, as a man in so many different ways. He's actually one of the guys that kind of originally inspired me in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. But there's a reason that the man himself has had to restart his own challenge in order to get back in shape. Okay, it's because it's not exactly sustainable. So it's not going to be a challenge or anything like that. This is none of those things. Now, the reason for that is because there is a scandal going on right now in the fitness industry. Most people think that fat loss is simply doing one of those diets like keto or intermittent fasting. And sure, that's how a lot of people lose some weight. But what they don't tell you is that 90+% of those people gain the weight back after losing it. As many as 90% of people who have lost a considerable amount of weight will gain it back. Okay, the key element is you. And that is absolutely correct. And you might even be one of those people. I've seen countless men get caught in the trap. I watched my father get caught in the trap. He tried keto, Weight Watchers, paleo, intermittent fasting, and he would lose some weight when he did them, but these were never sustainable for him. So he would gain the fat back every single time. And because he could never find that long-term success, he eventually just gave up on weight loss, accepted the identity of, I guess I'm just going to be the fat dad, right? He ballooned up over 270 pounds. He was hospitalized 16 times in 1 year. He lost his businesses, right? He fell into a depression because of that, because of all of this. And he ended up attempting suicide because he said, as a man, when you don't take care of yourself, everything else crumbles. That was his big takeaway in an interview that we conducted, which you can find on my YouTube, by the way, if you resonate with that. Onward. What is the real problem? Okay, what's the real thing that we're actually dealing with? Like, why are you stuck? I'm going to let you in on a little secret here, okay? A little secret that all of us fit Christian entrepreneurs know. Guys like Ed Mylett, who's 53 years old and, looks like this. Guys like Myron Golden, okay, who teaches business building on biblical principles, who is 63 years old and looks like this. Okay. Guys like Dan Martell, who is 44 years old and looks like this. What are all of these guys doing? What are all of us doing? The Christian entrepreneurs that are running these massive empires while still prioritizing time to take care of themselves, these are not the ones who are looking for quick fixes or unsustainable diets. They're the ones who build healthy default actions. Now, we get our default action or definition for default actions from Romans 7:15 through 24. Okay. It says this: I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it, but it is sin living in me that does it. That last verse there is going to be a little bit of a precursor to what's the biblical solution to this, by the way. But anyway, think about how this resonates with your unhealthy default actions. The things that you shouldn't be doing, like the chips at the end of the night or the late night snacking, whatever it may be for you, or ordering the crappiest thing on the menu at the client dinner where you can very easily have just gotten a steak, right? You know that these are things that are leading to you being stuck, gaining the fat back, but you do them anyway, right? This is describing your unhealthy default actions. There are things that you shouldn't do, but you do them anyway. Yours might include the late night snacking, overeating, skipping the gym, going off the rails on the weekends, over drinking the alcohol at client dinners, mindlessly snacking, never weighing yourself because you won't like what you see. You probably didn't think that we would know about that one, right? But the CEOs that you see who are walking around fit with confidence and energy, these guys that just seem like everyone else automatically respects when they walk in the room. Those guys are not the ones who are doing keto or paleo, whatever stupid health freak fad diet the fitness gurus, come up with the next. They're also not the ones who are saying like, oh, I work too much, or oh, I have a family. They're not using that as an excuse. Okay, these guys have simply built healthy default actions, meaning they are actually consistent. They don't constantly hop off and on the wagon. Okay, guys like Matt Larson, who is the CEO of a marketing company called 1000X Leads, who lost 41 pounds in 14 weeks and is starting to see abs come through. He was already crushing it in business. I remember when he started, I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, Gabe, pretty much my goal is I want my competition to look at me and just give up. And I was like, I like that. I respect that. So this was just one area of life that he hadn't really figured out. And now he's starting to see abs. This is ongoing, by the way. This is just at the time of this recording. I'm excited to update this as time goes on. But here's the sad part. Most business owners, they just accept being the fat guy because they failed so many times before. They justify it with, I work a lot, as if Matt or Ed Mylett doesn't work a lot. Okay. So by the end of this video, what you're going to do is, what we're going to get is you're going to know the steps that you can take to change your default actions and finally start fixing the real problem. Now, is this too good to be true? Okay. You might be thinking like, I'm not sure if I can even really get the weight off and keep it off. I failed so many times before. I've been struggling with this for so long. I don't think I can do it sustainably, maybe. Maybe you've done it unsustainably in the past and that's why it didn't work, but this will not be that. So is this even true? Is this too good to be true? That's what Drew thought before he lost 119 pounds in a year. Okay. He went from this to this. And Drew is a sales professional who did this while being in the middle of selling his family business and traveling all over for networking events. And yes, we developed a friendship throughout the process. This is when he was like 70-ish pounds down. We went on this awesome networking yacht trip in Croatia. So he did this while doing that. Okay, and I promise you, we were there with him in the networking trip on the yacht trip in Croatia, and we were not just like eating salads all the time. Okay, so that's not what this is. But anyway, that's also what Riz thought before he lost 24 pounds in 12 weeks. FYI, I lost 24.2 pounds and dropped 3 pant sizes in 12 weeks. Also set all these new awesome PRs. Let's go. And he did this while having a newborn baby running around the house and running his financial planning practice in Canada. That's also what John thought before he lost 66 pounds in 16 months and got abs. Okay, so if you're kind of like here right now, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm like, 250. I'm just trying to get like 220. All right. You can probably do a lot more than you think if you do it the right way and you're actually consistent. Right? Because God made you in his image and likeness, right? And just like not morbidly obese isn't necessarily in his image and likeness. Okay, so just onward. This is also what Joel thought before getting results like these. Abs after 40. And the 3-step biblical framework that we're going to use to accomplish this is, number one, the mindset shift, which will involve changing your default actions like we just went over. Okay. Because Proverbs 23:7 says, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so what that means is the transformation is going to weigh heavily on how you're thinking currently about your health and fitness, right? Because if so is he fat and overweight and unhealthy and hating what he sees in the mirror, then it's because of how he thinketh. If we're just taking the Bible at face value, right? And that's what we believe. We believe that this is the authority. So if so is he wants to be lean, healthy, high energy, presenting himself better to his clientele, then it's going to start with the way that he thinketh, right? Romans 12:12. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so if you are currently conforming to a pattern of this world, you're just like all the other fat business owners, okay? And sorry, that was a bit harsh. But if you're, pattern of the world, right? 70+% of people at this point in time are overweight or obese. And so that is objectively, if we're in the overweight category, that is objectively a pattern of this world. And so if you're conforming to a pattern of this world, we will be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So that's where the mindset shift comes into play. The results shift. Okay, for lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. It's Proverbs 11:14. Proverbs 20:18 says, plans are established by seeking advice. So if you wage war, obtain guidance. That's where the actual plan is going to come into play. Like, what is the structure around what we're going to do to get the fat off and gain muscle and do that sustainably? And then the sustainability shift. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This is where we talk about the accountability and bring in the accountability from other men and from Joey and myself on the team. Matthew 18:19 says, again, truly I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Okay. Again, just taking the word of God at face value. Again, truly I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything, so if we can come into agreement, myself, Joey, the team, all the other guys on the team who've done this already, if we can come into agreement that, dude, you can lose the weight, you can keep it off, you can sustain this, you can do it. If we can come into agreement about that and we ask for it, then it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. It's just what the Bible says. Okay, so the sustainability shift is where we bring in the accountability, right? Iron sharpens iron. Now, pillar number one, the mindset shift, what we're going to do is give you access to the default action installation system. This is a video module course that will teach you the biblical process to change your default actions so you can finally be consistent to lose the fat and keep it off. That's why you see all of our guys here saying default actions, the consistency, right? Your default actions might include all the things that we've talked about so far: having the sweet tooth, hitting snooze, never prioritizing time for yourself, going off the rails when you go on vacations and holidays, going off the rails when you travel, eating the kids' snacks when they're laying around the house, right? Wasting valuable workout time scrolling on your phone and more. And that's the things that Paul talks about in that Romans 7:15 through 24, this part of Romans 7 here. I do understand what I do for what I want to do. I do not do, but what I hate, I do. For how the desire to do is good, but I cannot carry it out. Gabe, I know I want to be healthy. I know I need to work out. I know I need to make better choices, but I cannot carry it out. Okay. So the good thing is that the Bible tells us how to change our behavior so that we can finally be consistent. Right? The Bible is the ultimate authority on human behavior, and it tells us how to change our behavior. Romans 6:6 says this, for we know that our old self was crucified with him so that the body ruled by sin might be done away with, that we should no longer be slaves to sin. Okay, let's just dive into this right here, because this really embodies the foundational solution, right? Your old self, as stated in Romans 6:6, is your identity in this area of life. Like, I'm just the fat guy, right? Like, I'm just the fat business owner. Like, I'm the sweet tooth. I guess I'm the fat POS. That's just who I am. This is just what I do. Yep, that's me. It's that conversation in your head when you look in the mirror and you see the gut, or right after you eat something you shouldn't have. Like, what does that conversation sound like in your head? What are those accusations from the enemy sounding like in your head? Him telling you, see, like, of course you couldn't do it. Here you are again, right? 235 pounds again. What does that conversation sound like? Okay. Romans 6:6 says if you crucify your old self, if we crucify our old selves, if we change our identity in this area of life, our bodies, our unhealthy, overweight bodies, ruled by sin, ruled by gluttony, ruled by sloth, laziness, ruled by overindulgence, might be done away with. Okay. So it says it right here. If we crucify our old self, change our identity in this area of life, our bodies, our unhealthy, overweight bodies, ruled by sin, gluttony, sloth, etc., might be done away with. Okay, cool. It's just crazy how the answer to everything in life can be found here in the Word of God. Right? That's why the first thing that we do is we give you our default action installation system. It's a video model course that teaches you the practical biblical truths to change your identity in this area of life, to have that mindset shift take place so that you can change your unhealthy default actions, which will allow you to lose the weight and keep it off, like Parker, who lost 56.4 pounds. 56.4 pounds in 16 weeks. He says, weekend dubs. This morning was below 250 for the first time in 5 years. By the way, Parker is a doctor. Okay, so he knew what he needed to do. He's a doctor with a kinesiology, exercise science background. So he knew exactly what he needed to do. He just couldn't get himself to do it consistently. He just couldn't be consistent with it, even though he knew what he needed to do. Side note, Parker. This morning was below 250 for the first time in 5 years. Default actions have completely shifted over the past 2 months, and it's paying off. That's Parker. Okay, pillar 2. Let's get into it. This is where we give you the structure to lose the fat, to build lean muscle, and to build functional strength without having to do keto, intermittent fasting, or any other unsustainable fad, and without compromising your work and family priorities, schedule-wise, timing-wise, okay? So what we're going to get is the custom default Kings training protocol. These are the workouts that are going to be built around your work and family priorities, schedule-wise. And this can be done at home, or these can be done in a gym. About half of our guys right now work out at home anyways. And these will not be hours on hours of endless cardio, because that only creates active calorie burn, which means that you're only burning calories while you do it. But they will be focused on building lean muscle through resistance training, and focusing on building functional strength as well through resistance training, because that is what creates passive calorie burn. What that means is you burn calories while you do it, just like all of the jogging, okay? But because you're building lean muscle, that lean muscle, like the actual lean muscle tissue, that you're going to be building, this stuff burns more calories 24/7, 365. It's like the MRR, recurring revenue, of fat loss is this lean muscle tissue. So that's what we're going to be focused on. Okay. And also, obviously, it's the lean muscle that makes you look better in your clothes, so that when you're presenting yourself on camera or in front of clients or to other associates, they see, okay, that's a body that displays discipline and drive. Instead of, oh, Siri is getting excited here. Instead of, thinking the opposite when they look at you and see the evidence of your lack of discipline and drive. Right? So that's why we focus on the resistance training. That's what these will be focused on. Yeah. Basically what this has done for guys like Carlos is actually a dad who owns a business, and Christian guy. He's sharing his PRs on his dumbbell presses, doing the 85s for 7 reps. I think he's 43 or 44 years old at the time of this recording. And this is what happens when you have this focus on the resistance training with the results shift. Okay. He says, I started this program 4 months ago at 31% body fat when he first started. And so in 4 months, he went from 31% body fat, got an in-body scan here, and came in at 15.9% body fat, down from 31% body fat in 4 months. Okay, that's what this does. Here's another update. March 2023, 235 pounds, 30% body fat. Today, 205 pounds, 12% body fat. Bicep veins and abs coming through. Okay. So that's why we do this. Andre Halcott Jr., who is the owner of ListKit, Client Ascension, and which is a massive tech startup and a great coaching company that's just crushing it right now. He said this: in the past 2 weeks, I've lost 10 pounds while eating my favorite foods like Shake Shack ice cream, sandwiches, pizza, baklava, etc., and only working out 3 to 4 times a week. He says, I've tried 75 hard. I've tried keto. I've tried running 1 mile per day for almost a year straight, but nothing has worked as well as the Default Kings program so far. And it's not even close. Shout out to Joey and Gabe for pushing me to be the best version of myself. Best part is I'm just getting started. And so this is kind of a preview on like what actually happens nutritionally too, because this isn't going to be any of those weird fad diets. You're still going to be able to eat your favorite foods. And I remember specifically with Andre, we implemented the custom Easy Lean eating system, talking about the nutrition here. And when he first started, he had a networking event that he was actually putting on in London. And he messages us and he's like, what am I supposed to eat on this plane ride over? Right? Like this is one of the cases where he would usually fall off. And we were there to support him, and we were there to give him the guidance on what to eat so that he can maintain his progress even on that trip. And he didn't come down, don't come back 8 pounds heavier, right? Like usual. So that's where the custom Easy Lean eating system is going to come into play. This is the daily structure of how much of what foods you eat, so you don't have any guesswork and you can lose fat on autopilot. Instead of cutting out, food groups at random, I guess I'm just going to not eat carbs anymore for the rest of my life. Yeah, sure. Or hyper restrictive fasting, we're going to focus on calories and protein. Those are the only two things that actually matter when it comes to losing the fat and gaining the muscle. Okay. And that's what's going to allow you to do it sustainably and enjoyably, so you can lose the fat without starving yourself, or without having to miss out on family dinners or networking events, or missing out on date nights with your wife. Okay. Or without having to miss out on movie nights with the kids. So here's Jennings, Lawton, DePriest sharing the burger that he was enjoying, one of our burger recipes, and Christian business owner Matt Torres sharing the DK homemade pizza recipe. This is Jonathan Shaw. That was that guy earlier who lost 66 pounds and got abs. And this isn't even one of our recipes. This is literally just a burger at a sports bar. And he's eating it while maintaining abs. Okay, that's also what we're going to be showing you how to do. Okay, so we'll give you the recipes to make it easier in the process, of course, and give you the guidance of like, here's how you eat in a healthier way, in a way that's tasty, enjoyable while you're losing the fat. But also here's how you just eat the things that you love in a sustainable way. Right? Okay, so this is just National Burger Day. He's just having a burger. So our grocery list is going to be part of that. Our quick shopping guide is going to be part of that. Our restaurant guide is going to be part of that. Our cookbook is going to be part of that. You'll see the dessert section in there as well. That will be part of that. This is how I go on dates with my beautiful woman here without having to sit, like bring a Tupperware of freaking salad or chicken and broccoli. Okay, she wouldn't like that very much. This is how Joey and I are able to enjoy calzones and give these mean mug stares down to everybody who's doing keto or like, oh, I can't eat carbs. Sorry, sucks to suck. Here's a little preview of the restaurant guide as well. Bonefish Grill, Buffalo Wild Wings, got the top 100 most popular restaurants in the United States in here, and you can of course apply those to things that are similar. Now, for the Results Shift, we're also going to give you access to our private coaching app. This is your GPS for losing the 10 to 30 pounds or more in the next 12 weeks. It's as simple as having 3 to 5 boxes to check each day that just push you in the direction of your goal body. So this is like my coach's view of, we'll see here Nick's calendar. And you're seeing the mindset shift take place with the consistency, right? The consistency, the default actions are in place. And you'll see exactly how much of what foods you need to eat. And you will just basically plug in your food when you eat so that, number one, that helps us make sure that you're getting leaner, but it also keeps you accountable. And you'll have the structure for your workouts right there. Obviously, this is a screenshot from Nick's workout. So I'm not saying yours is going to look exactly like this to the T, but it'll give you the exact exercise you need to do, the exact reps you need to use, the exact weight you need to use, the exact rest time, just so that there's no guesswork, right? We try to make this like so easy a monkey can do it type of thing. And you know exactly what to do, and that plan in and of itself helps keep you accountable, right? So this is what it helped do for Nick, who lost 38 pounds in 5 months, went from this to this in 5 months. Okay, onward, the sustainability shift. The sustainability shift is where we give you the one-on-one coaching and the accountability to make sure that you can sustain this and keep improving for life. All right. So the Bible says that my people will perish from lack of knowledge, right? So one of the things we want to make sure you do in order to sustain this is make sure you have the knowledge so you don't perish in this. All right. So we're going to give you our lean body masterclass, and we're going to give you lifetime access to this. This is where you learn to coach yourself, because the 15% body fat version of you is going to be able to take current you's lunch money. All right. That guy is going to be in a completely different body. That guy's going to be a beast. That guy's going to be way stronger, way leaner. So that guy needs to know how to adjust his workouts and nutrition over time as he gets stronger and leaner. Okay. Because that guy, the future you will need different workouts than current you. Okay. So we're going to make sure that you know how to do that so you can keep sustaining this for life. A cool stat about our educational material here is we've had a few guys come through Default Kings and actually start coaching clients on weight loss and fat loss themselves. And one of those guys is Matt Fontaine. There's a few other guys who you've probably even seen on Twitter, like Andrew Harris and Nathan Dressler, who've been through the program, and they actually became fitness coaches after going through the Lean Body Masterclass. So obviously that's not the goal for everybody. But what we're saying is we're going to give you the knowledge to be able to sustain this and keep improving for life. All right. This is Matt saying, thankful to the guys and the whole team at Default Kings. Because of them, I went from nearly 215 pounds to a new low of 187 pounds. Now I'm going to be able to perform ring muscle ups, and it's easier because I'm lighter. Let's keep going. Okay. We're also going to be giving you exclusive access to our inner circle. This is the private networking group of all the other men who are losing the weight and keeping it off while running their businesses and taking care of their families. Right? This is where we keep each other accountable. Right? This is a picture from one of our events that we did out in Phoenix with a bunch of the guys. You're going to see wins in the inner circle from guys like Josh. He's a pastor and business owner who lost 26 pounds. Here's what he says. This is a few weeks in for him. He says, this has been a mega weekend for me with church work for obvious reasons. This was actually Easter weekend when he sent this message in the chat. Mega busy church weekend for obvious reasons. LOL. Despite this and missing a workout, I managed to break through my last plateau, down 2 pounds this week. And you can just see the weight dropping day after day after day after day after day for him, even in one of the busiest weeks for any pastors out there, right? Easter weekend. This is Jim, who is a grandfather of 17. A grandfather of 17. And when we first talked, he was telling me that it's really important for him to get in shape. He's 69 years old. And he's this chief information officer at a company called Select Sires. And he's lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks at the time of this recording. So Jim is still currently going at the time of this recording through his initial 3 months. And he's down 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And 69 years old. And when we first chatted, he was telling me how important it is for him to get healthy and get in shape and get stronger so that he can be there, obviously, to play with his 17 grandchildren. And also because his wife, as they're getting older, she's needing somebody to be there taking care of him. And if he's not taking care of himself, he can't take care of her. So this is one of the ones that he shared in the inner circle. He says, I've lost more weight this week and had 9 personal bests. That's a new strength PRs in my workouts. But the real win happened on Tuesday. It was a really crappy day at work. And the last thing I wanted to do was go to the gym. My old default action was to overeat, then park my ass in front of the idiot box. My new default action was to hit the gym hard, eat like a warrior, and got some reading done. All the stress was gone after the workout, and I felt at peace. Simple motivation would probably have not worked on that day. DK did. Glad I'm here. It's inspiring to hear everyone's success. So this is what we're talking about. It's not even just about the PRs. It's not even just about losing 20 pounds in 6 weeks. It's about changing the default actions. Okay, that's what this is about. It's about changing the way that we operate. Okay, he had the exact scenario come up where he usually parks his butt in front of the couch and falls off, maybe eat some crappy food. That exact same scenario, the thing that you're thinking right now, that's like, man, every single time this happens, I fall off. That's what happened for Jim, but he had different default actions. So he's experiencing different results. That's what this is about. Okay. In this inner circle is where iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17. Okay. So you're also going to get access to our inner circle group coaching calls. This is where you're going to receive face-to-face support from myself, from Joey Joheim, and the rest of our client success team. Okay. All these calls will be recorded and uploaded when you join. So you have lifetime access to the entire recording vault. You can see every single recording from even before you were in DK and even after you finish DK. And we're going to be talking about nutrition. We're going to be talking about training so that you can lose the fat and build the muscle, of course, and achieve the physical results. And we're also going to be talking about the biblical principles to have the mindset shift take place. That's going to allow you to be consistent, having those types of discussions as well. Okay. Again, Matthew 18:19. It says, again, truly, I tell you that if 2 of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. This is the group of men that will come into agreement with you about what God can do in this area of your life. Okay. Now, on top of this, just imagine, right? Like being able to connect with all the other Christian entrepreneurs from across the country and seeing somebody who's already lost 50 pounds, seeing somebody who's already lost 100 plus pounds, seeing somebody who's already lost 30 pounds and gotten abs, and then being like, you can do it. There's something so powerful about this. That's why the Bible says iron sharpens iron. Anyway, onward. You're also going to have a VIP support channel. So like a private group of VIP coaching chat with Joey and myself. This is where we're going to get the intense one-on-one accountability and check-ins to ensure that you change your default actions and see the long-term success year after. And so here's what that looks like pictured, right? This is Joey. We're coaching here, Mike. All right. And Mike, 50 years old, a father who works in the pharmaceutical industry, father of 2 twin boys, and lost about 35 pounds. And what happens when you get that intense one-on-one accountability and feedback from Joey and I is, you get to smash a 20-something-year-old guy in jiu-jitsu, right? That's, active picture of what this looks like. Of course, this is at one of our events, but you're going to be getting that intense one-on-one accountability from us in the private chat. Here's Nick, and this was some of his feedback on that. He says, throughout my time in the Default Kings, my mindset has been completely revitalized. I was once over 240 pounds And I started the program and took control of my default actions, and everything changed. I am now under 200 pounds, stretched from 240 to 200, and continuing to lose more weight. And I feel better than I ever have before. Stephen Osborne, father, in his 40s. I sure am. I've dropped 15 pounds of fat and I'm feeling strong and lean. I learned how to lift weights, eat well, and feel confident I can keep myself on track. I feel better at 45 than I did at 35. I haven't taken advantage of the group calls and message board that much, but know I can reach out to you guys directly if I need anything. So even if you're not making it to the calls, then this is where we're going to still have the private one-on-one coaching. Okay. Brandon Fisher says, I can provide testimony that these incredible young guys are changing my life. I'm about halfway through their program. I'm building sustainable habits that will fuel my health and success for decades. Okay. So some results there. What you're also going to be getting is your very own one-on-one client success specialist. So this is like your one-on-one coach. And his sole focus is to ruthlessly hold you accountable to your goals, to help you change your default actions, and to help you navigate the inevitable roadblocks of life, like traveling, vacation, potential injuries, etc. Okay, so this is Chris Robinette. He owns a financial planning practice in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is some of his feedback from that. He said, started working with the guys a few weeks ago and with my client success one-on-one coach about mindset. I had stuck around getting below 230 pounds since 2006. Right. So this was in 2023. He said he helped me unpack some head trash and set some tangible markers back in my life that I had been blowing off to chase the goals I really wanted, which were to live a long and healthy life free from disease and pain. This breakthrough right here is the first step of many to getting down to an ideal weight with an ideal workout routine. So super pumped for the progress that Chris Robinette experienced. It was really interesting when we first chatted. He was telling me how like the consequence of even like added health care bills, like he didn't mind. Like he's doing really, really well with his financial planning practice. Like he is blessed in that area of life. And he was like, yeah, Gabe, like paying an extra 10 grand a year, 12 grand a year in health insurance, like that doesn't scare me. But what really was important to him was living that long and healthy life free of disease and pain. So awesome to see that. His one-on-one coach helping him unpack that head trash on one of their one-on-one calls. Ryan Black, this is one of the messages and feedback. Good morning, coaches. I just hit 165.8 pounds. That is a loss of 26.2 pounds since I started this program 74 days ago. The best part is, even though I've lost all the weight, I keep getting stronger. So down 26.2 pounds in 74 days and keep getting stronger. I can't wait to keep going and see just how great I can be. I'm going to kick some ass this week. Jeremy Jonenberg, shout out to Chris for changing my program every couple of weeks to suit whatever I have. Jeremy was actually in the military, and so he has all these kind of trainings that he's always going to, and he's on this base for this amount of time and in this area for this amount of time, and so he has constant changes in what he needs. And so Chris, who's one of the one-on-one coaches, is there supporting him the entire way, making sure he's adjusted, making sure he's able to keep progressing even as life changes. Okay, so we also have unlimited coaching calls with this one-on-one coach. I don't believe in like making you just pay for every single session with your coach, like a personal trainer, like the gym industry does, because your situation is unique. And in some cases, that's going to require a ton of attention in certain circumstances. So we give you that unlimited amount of one-on-one coaching with your client success specialist. Okay. So the biggest mistake that we see that keeps people fat, okay, that we've seen is going to be kind of explained here, right? Luke 14 through 11. Luke 14 through 11, or Luke 14:11 says, for whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and who humbles himself will be exalted. And so literally the biggest mistake I've seen that keeps guys fat, that keeps guys stuck, is just having a lack of humility. Okay, they tell themselves that, the weight gain is no big deal. It's not that big of a deal. Or it's not that bad. I hold it well. Dangerous words. They justify it with excuses like, I can just burn it off, or I'll get back on track tomorrow after eating like crap. They lie to themselves with delusions. Like my wife, she doesn't mind my beer belly. Come on, dude. Okay. They don't look at the scale because they know they don't like what it says. They never actually count the cost of nothing changing. Lacking that humility, never actually counting the cost, never actually recognizing what happens. Let's just say hypothetically, if nothing were to change and you're just on the cycle that you've been on for potentially years, where does that lead? What do you miss out on that you could have had if you actually committed, followed through, and got the weight off and built the muscle and kept it off long term? Okay. They never actually count the cost of nothing changing. This is the biggest show. I've talked to guys who are like 400, 500 pounds who are like, yeah, it's not that bad. I don't need to do anything about it right now. It's the same mindset that keeps guys who are 220 pounds stuck. Okay. So this is the primary issue. They never actually count the cost of nothing changing. This is actually exactly what happened to Drew before we started working together. Drew actually lost 100 pounds on his own. 100 pounds on his own before working with us. So imagine me sitting here having this conversation with Drew. He's like, yeah, I've actually lost 100 pounds myself. And I was like, what? So you were 425 pounds? He's like, no, I lost 100 pounds, but the old default action slipped back in. So the weight crept back on. And he knew that he was gaining some weight back, but he hadn't weighed himself in about a year because in his mind, it was no big deal. It's not that bad. Okay. So he thought he had gained, maybe 30 or 40 pounds back from when he lost the initial 100. And when we chatted, I asked him to weigh himself. And he got up from the Zoom and walked over to a scale. He weighed himself. And when he came back, he had like his head in his hands, basically. And he was like, Gabe, I've gained every single pound back and more. So he gained over 100 pounds back after losing over 100 pounds. Because in his mind, it was no big deal. Okay. Now, flash forward. Drew's lost 119 pounds and he's kept it off for over an entire year since then, just at the time of this recording. Okay. So that's what happens. Here you can see him getting down to that kind of ideal range for him and being able to maintain that. That is what happens when you don't count the cost. That's why you need to count the cost. Okay, so let's do that right now while we're here, just so that this serves you. All right, we need to count the cost of an action as an entrepreneur, first off. Okay, so we need to have the humble understanding that you are 100% missing out on entrepreneurial success, business growth, and money without taking action and finally getting rid of this weight once and for all. Okay, how much more money can you make if you had more energy, if you had more confidence, if you were viewed with more respect from your prospects and from your clients? Here is a message from a guy named Patrick. I'm not going to mention his last name. He is high up at one of the biggest companies, one of the biggest banks in the world. Says, I feel comfortable traveling all day. Yesterday, got approximately 13 mil from a client meeting in Miami. Powerlist and journaling definitely contributing to me hitting that goal and getting it done quickly. He said he was able to jump on the call yesterday, just found in charge Samsung smartwatch to keep tracking steps, been using Whoop. I'll have impressive step numbers starting now. So talking about how the powerlist and the journaling, part of what we do in the default action installation system, help them get that goal done quickly. But when you have that confidence and conviction in who you are, your mindset is even more consistent in one area of life. It transfers to other areas of life, specifically your work. So you should actually try to quantify this in your mind, or else you'll never care to change. And I can't help you at all if you don't care to change. So like, for example, small math example here in the markets, you would need to have just over 700K cash invested at 3% dividend yield to net an additional $20,000 a year. Okay, the alternative is to invest less than 0.1% of that into your health and see similar or greater returns. Okay, let's say you're currently operating at like half the energy you could have, half of the confidence and respect that people could be giving you if they looked at you and saw a leader. Okay. Let's say you're easy numbers. Say you're currently taking home 100K a year profit. If you just boosted that by 60% or up to 60%, boosted it by 10%, you'd be taking home 120K a year right now. Simple maths. right? Like, and just play this out as the numbers increase, right? It only compounds. So think about what we're missing out on by not taking action, just business wise. Okay, this doesn't include the leadership cost, the credibility cost, the respect cost that you're paying when your colleagues, when your clients, and your team just takes you less seriously because your body doesn't display discipline and drive. It's a really interesting thing that I notice when I go to networking events and business events is like, doesn't matter what level the entrepreneur is. When I shake someone's hand and they're not fit and I am, it's a very interesting, like they just know type of thing because they know that I just know what they're doing or not doing. That is leading to them having this. It's a very interesting thing. Okay. So we need to consider that. We also need to consider the cost of an action as a husband or a future husband if you're not married yet. Okay. Like the classic, shameful. My wife, she doesn't really mind. She doesn't mind my beer belly. Your wife might say that she doesn't mind your beer belly, but think about this. If she had gained 10, 30 or more pounds since college, would you have the courage to look her in the eye and tell her that you don't like the way she looks? Would you tell her? I mean, if this is the case, like, what do you tell her? Right? I mean, she's probably just saying that to save her feelings. Or maybe she just accepted the fact that it's never going to change. And so she wants to save her own feelings and convince herself that she doesn't mind. Just saying. Now, unless you're married or you're with a woman who doesn't care about your best interests, then recognize there's also a massive benefit to her too. Like no wife or future wife is going to be angry about the man in her life having more energy, more confidence, being more attractive, having higher testosterone. And she's not going to be mad about you being an all around, just better version of yourself physically and mentally. Okay, here's how I know this. Apart from seeing it play out in all the guys' lives who we've worked with, my own parents' marriage, my own relationship. I'm going to keep these wife examples private. But yes, sir, this is Ryan B. Even the fiance is noticing the big difference. Got a compliment at work about my arms. Ethan, things are looking up. So she will notice the difference. Maybe she pretends it's no big deal now, but okay. Another one of our clients met with my wife after work. When I walked up, she said to me in front of others, "How do you get older and more handsome, better skin and muscle tone?" And I'm just getting started. Imagine hearing those words from your wife. Maybe it's been a long time since you've heard stuff like that. Okay, Jonathan Washburn says down 19 pounds total, but 24 pounds of fat. He's gaining muscle in the process in less than 3 months. Wife said she misses my love handles, but she's getting used to it. LOL. Ha ha ha. Ha. Okay. Luke Smith. Thanks, Joey. I'm excited to continue. I was just telling my wife how good I've been feeling, enjoying the gym, sleeping better, and more energy. She had already noticed. ... Fire, fire, fire. No idea what that means. No idea. Ha ha ha. LOL. This one I like. This is his name's Marcos. I won't say his last name. Pastor in Orlando, actually. It says BTW. My wife cannot get enough of me. She keeps grabbing my biceps while we make love. And I tell her, babe, I'm still sore from my workout. And she says, I don't care. They feel so good. I just thought I'd show you this for some inspiration. Yeah, let's just move on. I mean, just imagine. Let's move on. Now, the only time a wife ever refuses to let her husband lead is if in the past you've told your missus that you're going to change, but you never followed through. So of course she doesn't trust you. And of course she doesn't take you seriously. Of course she doesn't believe in you. You've given her evidence of the opposite, right? So the best way for you to gain back the trust of your wife or your future wife is to show her that you're serious about making a change is by actually committing to something and following through this time. Not like, hey, I think I'm going to do this thing. No. Actually taking action and showing her, not just telling her. Right? This is pretty self explanatory, but the reality is women don't want to have to be a man's mommy and hold them accountable or make decisions for them. They want a man who takes decisive action and leadership. So if you're thinking like, oh, my wife's going to be my accountability partner, do you think your wife wants to be the one slapping the donut out of your hand because you can't control yourself like a little boy? Do you think that she wants that? Do you think that she wants to be the one disciplining her husband? Just consider that, okay? Before you ask your wife to be your accountability partner. Just saying. Okay. Here's a text from one of our guys. This is what I'm talking about here. He sends to his wife. He said, a couple of months ago, I promised you to get in the best physical and mental shape possible. It's gotten better, but I promise to reach new heights in the coming months. And his wife says, I love you, sweetheart. You'll never know how proud I am of you. That respect when you take action and follow through. Now, really interesting thing too here, Mike Knievel. He's leading in his family. Okay. So he started the program. This is the guy who was smashing the other 20-something-year-old guy in jiu-jitsu, down like 35 pounds. His wife, he sends us this text from his wife. His wife actually started our women's division, Default Queens, and she texts him, down 10 pounds this morning. Hallelujah. It's a Christmas miracle. He says, text from my wife this morning. So she's following his lead after he takes action and follows through. Okay. So that's that. Now, you also want to consider the cost of an action as a father and as a future father, right? Like I grew up with the dad who was unhealthy and overweight. He put everything else before taking care of himself. And as a result, he was less able to take care of everything else. Eventually got the diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, hospitalized 16 times in 1 year, lost his businesses, lost his real estate, was drowning in medical debt and unable to work. That created a ton of familiar resentment between my father and I. And my dad was no longer able to provide and became a burden to the family. Okay. Just totally raw with you here. What happened as a result of this wasn't that he lost his businesses, but his wife, my mom, my brothers, and I, we lost respect for him. And he lost his sense of purpose and fell into depression and attempted suicide. That's what this got. It took him getting to this point to make a change. Okay, so he finally started exercising more, finally started eating better. He lost 40 pounds. But honestly, there are still consequences that he deals with to this day because he waited so long to make the change. Okay, and we still work on a relationship, and Christ saves and he redeems, and you are never too far gone. And God has done so much in him and I's relationship, and he's working out. And I was actually just before recording this video last night, taking him through some workouts at home with some bands. But you need to understand that your default actions do have real painful consequences. And what you've done has already had an effect on your family, whether you like it or not. So don't keep digging yourself into that hole, okay? Because it's hurting them. We want to dig ourselves out of that hole as soon as possible. Okay, so consider the cost of an action as a father. How's it gone for Daz and DK? Anthony Scott threw around football with my son today. My shoulder used to ache after a few minutes. Not today. We threw for at least an hour. No pain thanks to progress in the program. That's why I came here. Jonathan Hancock. My 11-year-old daughter hugged me tonight and then told my wife, Daddy. Told my wife, Daddy's getting skinny. Tom Luden. One of his things was he had teenage boys who were lifting weights. He wanted to be able to lift with them. He lost 53 pounds in 7 months at 58 years old. He's a lawyer. He says, this was really cool, actually. Under the post that I posted about him, he says, but how has Tom done in 7 months since then? Since after he lost 53 pounds? Especially after a holiday season where he would occasionally indulge. So that time of the year that comes up where he usually falls off the wagon. This is after going through the program, changing his default actions. He says, well, today he weighed a pound less than he did in that video. So he's maintained it and even lost a pound since then. Losing weight is great, but learning how to change your default, learning how to change your habits so it stays off is even better. That's how it's gone for DK dads. Now, the financial cost of poor health is also something you want to consider. All right. These are just ballpark numbers here, but the average cost of having heart disease per year is $18,953 a year on average. Lump sums in terms of medical bills and emergency bills, $17,000 to $53,000 plus. Financial cost of diabetes is about $12,000 a year on average. anywhere between $13,000 and $47,000 in terms of lump sums for anything you need to deal with. Cancer, that's massively increased in likelihood when you are obese, overweight, in that state of chronic inflammation. $15,000 to $1 million in terms of lump sums. Medications, average American is spending at least $1,400 a year on those, even with insurance. And that doesn't even include the cost of having less years on earth to spend with your wife, your kids, your family, the cost of the money that you could be making if you had more energy, if you had more confidence, if you had more drive, and the cost of not feeling like you are meeting your God-given potential. This doesn't even include the cost of missing out on memories with your family because you don't have the energy or health to be present with them. You want to make sure you count the cost of the poor health that's a result of nothing changing and not taking action. You also just want to count the cost of other unsustainable solutions that don't address the root cause problem. Like, for example, ballpark numbers again. But a personal trainer is going to charge about $50 a session. If you do that 3 times a week, bare minimum, you're at $150 a week. If you do that throughout the month, that's going to turn into $600 a month. And just on personal training alone, which is just like do the bicep curl, you're talking about $7,200 a year over year. If you expect on having the support for longer than a year, sustaining this for longer than a year, I mean, just do the math. A nutritionist or a dietitian, that's going to be $75 a session. If you do two times a week, $150 a week, $600 a month, another $7,200 a year. Accountability coach, life coach, $100 a session. Men's group, $100 a session. You're looking at another $9,600 a year, $4,800 a year. When you add up the costs of unsustainable approaches that don't solve the root cause problem, just on numbers alone, it becomes just a poor stewardship of finances and a massive opportunity cost for other things that you can be using $28,000 a year to invest into. Okay. If it doesn't address the root cause problem, it's a complete waste. Now, that doesn't even include the cost of wasting another year trying to lose the weight and keep it off, but ultimately failing. What's the cost of that? And then considering throwing in the towel and just being, the fat guy. Right? Now, what is the cost of the investment into the body that you should have? Okay. First off, just for everything that we do, the knowledge, the accountability, the consistency, the nutrition, the training, to get the weight off and keep it off, all of that is just all together. It's not all these other separate things that you're having to pay for. And it's a fraction of what you would pay otherwise for any of these other solutions that don't solve the root cause problem. It's a fraction of the cost as a father, as a husband, and as a business owner who never solves the problem for good. Okay. So that's that. Now, how do we contractually guarantee that you lose the weight and keep it off? And if not, we refund you in full. Here's how we do that. We're going to be targeting in the first 12 weeks, the first 90 days here, you losing 10% of your body weight. So if you're 250 pounds right now, what that would mean is we would target you losing 25 pounds by 90 days from now. Okay. And if you get to the end of the first 12 weeks and you aren't satisfied with your results, you can ask for 100% refund. So long as you were coachable, so long as you didn't ghost us. Okay. Now we also give you a weight loss warranty for an entire year after the program's over. So you remember Tom, who dropped that comment 7 months after the program where he had kept all the weight off and even lost a pound? That's what we want. Right. So if you gain the weight back after losing it, then you're eligible for 100% refund. And I do not do this so that people are asking for refunds. Okay. We do this so that it's risk free from you. Again, we require that you're coachable and you don't ghost us, and make sure you respond to our messages within 48 hours when we check in on you. And if you still haven't humbled yourself and you're not coachable, then we're probably not going to be a good fit. But we do this so that's risk-free, because that's going to create one of 3 scenarios for you. Scenario number 1 is, of course, you do the program, you lose the weight, and you keep it off forever. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is you do the program, but for some reason you feel like it wasn't for you or unhappy with your results. And in that case, we have a professional conversation, give you your money back. And you got 12 weeks of hands-on coaching from myself, from Joey, from the DK team. And we hope you take it and run with it. We hope it impacted you. We hope it helps you in the long term. No harm, no risk for you. It was totally free. Scenario 3 is the risky scenario. That is that you try what you've tried in the past or do it on your own with no structure or accountability. And this is the risky option because that's what's gotten you here. Your past strategy has been perfect for your current results. Okay. So the only thing that's guaranteed to not work is changing nothing about what you're doing right now or doing what you've tried in the past that has gotten you here. Okay. Every other scenario is risk free. Now, here are your next steps. Option 1 is to keep doing what you're currently doing. You can continue to stay 10 to 30 pounds over fat or gain more weight. You can continue to lose money as a result of subpar professional performance. Yikes, right? Or you can continue to lose respect from your lady by not actually changing, even though you swore you would this time again. And you can continue to have your kids, wonder just how big daddy's going to get. Or for you future fathers, continue to set your kids up with an example to inherit the same negative default actions that you have. So that's option 1, is just keep doing what you're currently doing. Option 2 is show up to your already scheduled free fat loss assessment in a quiet room, ready to take notes. Okay. Best case scenario is if you're a great fit for DK at the end of the assessment, then we can tell you about how it can help you and get you started implementing immediately. Worst case scenario, if you're not a good fit for DK, but we still go through that consultation, then we'll send you away with a game plan and a ton of free resources to help you move forward on your weight loss journey. Okay, but either way, you're going to be speaking with me or a member of my team, and we'll make sure that this is a pivotal conversation that turns things around for good, because we believe that God made you in his image and likeness, and it is our mission to help you see that through. Enjoy your consultation. Talk soon.